If you've played Tears of the Kingdom, you've almost certainly moved. And since it's such a core part of the game, today I wanted to see if it was possible to beat the game from start to end without moving. So what's the definition of moving? Well, it's moving the left stick to, well, move. Since I'm banning the entire use of the left stick, that means I can't move with control sticks or move in the map menu, so I can't fast travel. With the rules out of the way, if you do enjoy the video, I'd appreciate if you liked and subscribed. Anyway, let's begin the run. So we start up the game and I start trying to figure out a way of moving without moving. I tried jump attacks, sword swings, and mashing crouch, but none of these actually allowed us to move. So I kept trying, and after a few minutes, I did this. So it turns out that if you jump attack just as you're about to hit the ground, Link will do a forward jump attack, and with this we can move. So I steadily use these jumps to navigate through the ruins. The timing on these jumps is actually quite precise, and after about 25 minutes, I've reached Ganondorf, and we watch a cutscene. When we can play the game again, our sword's gone. So now I literally mash every button on my controller, and I don't think we can now move. I used this crack on the floor to check my progress, and I was pretty sure I wasn't moving. Well, is that it? Is the run truly over? Can we really no longer progress? Fortunately, there was still one card left up my sleeve. A glitch that would allow us to solve our current problem and give us an unbreakable sword so we would never have the same problem ever again. This glitch requires an alternative save file, one that has actually moved. So to clarify one rule about this run, is moving only counts if it's on the main save file. So this Link here is allowed to move, but the Link we are going to beat the game with cannot move. I now replayed the intro, jump attacked over to this bit right here, near the rubble, then I saved and I loaded my other save. On this save, I fused two rocks together and dropped a weapon near this wall, and I equipped another weapon. I then unpaused and immediately paused again. Then I dropped my new weapon and I loaded my other save file. The weapon is now transferred to the other save file. This Link now picks up the weapon and he gains access to the weapon menu that he currently shouldn't have access to. I then performed this save file glitch again, and I sent the message not found, infinite durability master sword, to my other save file. And I watched the Ganondorf cutscene again, and saved when I can. I then load my other save and head over to the room where our other save is. I drop down the message not found, equip a weapon, then unpause, pause, drop the newly equipped weapon, and load our other save. This drops down the message not found in front of Link, so as you remember from earlier, holding ZL, then jump attacking close to the ground allows us to move. So we now steadily jump through the ruins until we reach the area with some water. I jumped in there and I used dashes to move towards the other side. Unfortunately, when Link is partially submerged in water, our jump attack method of moving doesn't seem to work, so I ended up getting stuck, so I had to reload a save. This time around, I managed to get a good angle on this, and I managed to swim into this, and Link climbed to escape the water. Next up was a big wall, where they kind of want us to climb, and in this run, we technically can climb. It's just hard to do that, as we can't press forward, so the only way to climb is to find a ledge where we can drop down. Anyway, I now lined up and executed two well-timed jump attacks to climb up. I now enter a room with some water. I used R to aim Link in the right direction, and with a dash, he climbed up. With the next room, I carefully dropped down, and I tried to go around here, but that didn't really work. I then tried swimming, but there wasn't really a good place to climb out from, so I had to keep looking. I found a solution by this wall, and I just had to jump attack twice to exit the water. Then we can safely jump down. After dropping into the water, I managed to climb out, and I jump attacked until I reached this NPC to pick up the Pura Pad. We drop down once again, climb out, and then we fight some constructs. Here I find out another way of moving without moving. If you lock onto an enemy and they are near Link, he will steadily swing towards them. This was nice as it made fights a little less annoying. Anyway, we now swim over to the Temple of Time, climb up, and we are faced with a problem. A big wall. If you remember from earlier, we can't easily execute climbing, so I tried jump attacking to climb up, but I didn't have success while doing that. So I then searched for a solution. I thought the wing in the chest up here would be useful, but after a few tries, I decided reaching them would be impossible. But while I did this, I thought of a solution. If you are close to a ledge, you can climb down, and by jump attacking right here, I could do just that. Then while you drop down, you can jump to gain some height, and at this place right here, I could climb all the way to the top. Then with some jump slashes, we reach the Temple of Time. Now we have to complete the 3 shrines, and the first I set my sights on was the Ultra Hand Shrine. On my way, I discovered that if you parry with a shield, you slightly move forward. This method was slower than just jump attacking, but it didn't require the precise timing of the jump slashes. So if I wasn't paying attention to the game, it was still useful despite being a little slower. Anyway, we now reach the area right here, and we are faced with a huge problem of climbing up here. I tried dropping down and climbing, but that didn't work. I then tried jump attacking to get up, but that also didn't work. So I loaded my other save and I did the same method as we obtained the message not found to obtain a bomb shield on our main save. With this shield I planned to bomb jump up, but this didn't exactly go as planned because bomb jumps just send you straight up, so I had to find the perfect place to get the angle so I could land up top. I used some parries to move in position and I got just the right angle and I made it up top. I gave myself another shield for my other save, and this next jump was easier than the first and I got up on my first try. Now I could enter the shrine and obtain Ultra Hand. The shrine is pretty simple, make some bridges then jump attack across. The final bit was a little harder, but I managed to time my jump slash and we rode the platform to the end. From here I journeyed to the Fuse Shrine. To get there I parried across a bridge, jumped attacked around, and I eventually arrived at where they want us to build a boat. In case I haven't made this clear, the timing on the jump attacks was pretty precise, and timing one to land on the boat was pretty hard, so I used Ultra Hand to get it stuck on the bridge, then I jump attacked onto the boat, and I waited until it got unstuck. I then rode it over to the other side and entered the next shrine. Here I have to fuse a rock to a sword, then smash through the wall and shoot a fire arrow to drop down the chest. Now we open the door with a key, but you see here we have a problem. You have to move to climb a ladder, so I had to think of an alternative solution. I tried to perform the infinite jump glitch where you jump slash, open the rune menu, then open the shield menu, switch shields, then shoot a bow to enter bullet time. In bullet time I need to jump slash and quickly open the rune menu. Then I just had to repeat the method over and over until I got up. Unfortunately after a few tries I couldn't do that, and I even had some trouble entering bullet time, so I moved a chest and rock over with Ultra Hand, and with some jump slashes I could reach the next room, and I'll shut down the construct and finish the shrine. Now we have to go for a cave and build a boat to get across the water. I now duped some ingredients to make a large amount of stamina restoring food in case I have to do some climbing in the future. I now head into a cave and ride out on a minecart. We then dupe some zonite charges to use in a nearby device dispenser. I picked up some fans and then I head over to this floating platform. I dropped down some fans and I flew my way over to the next shrine. The Ascend shrine was actually pretty easy, nothing to talk about here, we beat it, and now we have to head back to the Temple of Time. On my way there I use Ascend a few times and find another device dispenser. I picked up some wings, then I attached some fans to a nearby floating platform and I rode it over to the Temple of Time. We now obtain recall and then we climb up to the door. Roro now tells us to go over here by fast travel, but if you remember the rule I have banned the use of the left stick and you can't move in this menu without the left stick, so I can't fast travel. So I jumped back to this floating platform right here, and I attached a few fans to it. This allowed me to fly to the island with the recall shrine. This shrine just required some well-timed jump attacks to land on the floating platform, and then I could just use recall to reach the top and beat the shrine. I now flew back to the Temple of Time to open the door. With a few uses of Ascend, I progress and send the Master Sword back in time. Okay, so now we've unlocked the open world, so my plan is to go straight to Ganondorf and do as little optional content as I need to beat the game. In order to defeat Ganondorf, I needed two things. One is a steering stick. With it I would have a much easier time reaching Ganondorf as I could skip the boss gauntlet. And the other objective was fairies, as I could dupe them and pretty much become invincible when we fight Ganondorf. So I jumped my way over to the Great Plateau, I smashed the rock, and I found some steering sticks. From here I wanted to climb onto the nearby Sky Islands, and the easiest way to do this was to build a flying machine. To do this, I just placed a few fans around a steering stick, and I got on. A thing of note is that I can't actually move to steer with the steering stick, because you have to move to do that. I was mainly just using it to stay on the machine. Reaching the island was actually surprisingly hard, as I can't steer, so I just have to pray that my machine will swerve in the direction of the island. This took me like 2 hours, but I managed to make it, and I dropped down. I now jumped over here, shot a construct, and jumped on this floating platform. I rode it over to this island that has some fairies, and I've begun to try to collect them. This was harder than you'd expect, as we can't move towards them without alerting them of our presence. So I pretty much got as close as I could, then I stood still until one was in range to be picked up. Then I duped them until I had about 150. That's one objective complete, but we still have to find a steering stick. And fortunately there was a device dispenser that drops them nearby. So I flew around with a floating platform and I reached an island where I found another floating platform. I then rode this platform in the direction of where the device dispenser was, but it was too far away and the platform disappeared. Fortunately, this was all part of my plan. You thought I was looking for the steering stick in the sky? Well, I was actually going towards the ruins right here to pick up the 3 steering sticks in a chest. With all objectives complete, I rode away in my signature aeroplane to TotK. I completed the mini side quest where you pick up the paraglider, as I expected it would be useful against the demon dragon. Now I perform a glitch called Zuggle. You perform this by placing your back against a wall, then opening the map rune, and just before that appears, you open the switch weapons menu with the D-pad. Then you drop your equipped weapon and equip another weapon. The map menu should now show up. I now press plus to open the other menu. Then I drop my currently equipped weapon. Now I close the menu and my weapons are stacked on top of each other, increasing attack power. But I'm not doing this for that reason. You see, if you perform this glitch enough times, you can stand on a steering stick to clip through the ground. To make good use of this, I head into the depths, and I use this to skip the lead up to Ganondorf, and I now fight the Demon King's army. The Demon King's army isn't hard, as with all the fairies we pretty much have infinite health, but I had a problem with the Gusto attached to my weapon, and I keep blowing enemies out of range for me to attack. By just swinging wildly, I managed to take out most of the melee bokoblins, but the ranged ones were much harder. I had to slowly parry my way towards them, and kill them with the beam attack with the Master Sword. With them down, we move on to the next wave. It's pretty much the same as the previous wave, but it's slightly easier, as the enemies are more aggressive, and they move in range for me to attack. The Gibdo wave was up next, pretty simple. I throw Choo Choo Jelly and kill them. The final wave was the easiest, as they all move towards you. After finishing them off, Pole Gera appears, but we don't have to fight them, because if you remember from earlier, we can clip through the ground with steering sticks if we perform a few zuggles. So I climb this wall that blocks the way towards Ganondorf with jump attacks. When I was high enough, I dropped down a steering stick, I used recall to easily get on it, and I clipped through the ground. Now I just jumped over to Ganondorf to begin the fight. For phase 1, I can pretty much not pay attention, and just swing my sword until he dies. Parrying with my shield can speed up the process, but that's not really necessary. On phase 2, he summons his clones. I focus them until all of them have died, and then I move on to Ganondorf. This phase from this point onward is pretty much the same as phase 1, so it's pretty easy. Okay, so phase 3 is actually really annoying. Every attack I go for, he just dodges. The only way for me to land a hit was to perfectly time an attack so it lands just as he's about to attack me. Or to parry with a shield, but mine ended up getting broken. After doing this for a while, I decided this was too slow, and if I still had a shield, I could speed this process up. So I dropped all my fairies and let Ganon kill me. I got back to phase 3, and with parries I could land about 3 hits with every successful parry. This sped up the fight, but I still had to be careful with my shield's durability. I also found out that the Master Sword's beam attack can hit the projectiles back that Ganondorf shoots out. Anyway, we beat the fight and move on to the Demon Dragon, who is actually hard in this run. We can't move, so it's really hard to land on specific parts of the dragon. To help land in certain areas, I had to jump off the Light Dragon at just the right time to move towards our first weak point, and I destroy it. The second one was easy, and for the third I had to drop straight down and move towards it with jump attacks. The first 3 weak points were relatively easy, but the 4th weak point took me over an hour to break. Everything I tried just didn't seem to work. I couldn't drop from above as it was too far away. Jumping off the Light Dragon seemed to be the only way to reach it, but that required me to be insanely precise. While doing this, I learned that if you jump off quickly and jump slash, you move forwards rather than backwards. And sometimes when I did this, the Light Dragon would hit into me, sending me flying into the sky. So high in fact that the game forced the dragon to pick me up, so that was quite frustrating. Anyway, I made my way to the weak point with a well-timed jump, then I just jump slash my way to their next weak point. Now we have to deal the final blow by attacking the head, but the dragons work slightly differently now. The first is I think the Demon Dragon moves towards you, it's that or something pushes you towards them. The second is you can't land on the Demon Dragon from the Light Dragon. Even with a well-timed jump, I was nowhere near close. So in order to land on the dragon, I needed a different solution. I tried to use Ultra Hand to make a flying machine, but that didn't work. I then tried to use recall to get some extra distance towards the dragon, but that also didn't work. The only solution I could think of is dropping down a wing and getting on it mid-air. The problem was, without moving, I wasn't sure if this was possible. But after a few tries, I figured out that while falling, without the paraglider, if I pulled out a wing and I quickly pulled out the paraglider, I could just barely land on the wing. And I could use recalls to make it stay still, so I could reposition to the center of the wing. From there, I rode it towards the Demon Dragon. I used recall for extra precision, and I dropped down to land the final blow. So to answer the question, you cannot beat Tears of the Kingdom without moving, because you have to grab Zelda's hand to beat the game, and you can't do that without moving. Like and subscribe if you enjoy, and bye.